Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a video giving my thoughts. It'll be a Q&A. Going to be answering the first question, which is, Trev, what do you think people will actually do if Daryl is killed off? I want to thank you guys for continuing to send me all these awesome questions. That way we can have some videos for this week leading up to, of course, the return of The Walking Dead Season 6, the second half. Can't wait, this Sunday coming up. Well, not tomorrow, but, next Sunday, I guess I should say, to be clear, the 14th. So really excited for it. Got the review done for No Sanctuary, the throwback review. That'll be posted tomorrow for you guys, so heads up for that on Sunday. Wanted to get that done before, Season 6 starts again, and then we're going to be talking about all the new stuff, of course. So one that we've been talking about quite a bit this break is the possibility of them killing off Daryl. Did a video, just the other day talking about the part in the interview with TV Guide. If you guys missed it, the videos on the channel of him saying he played Daryl Dixon. But some people think he's just saying play because the first letter in Daryl is D. So played Daryl, this kind of thing. Maybe stringing together. So yeah, it's possible. But I still think, and as you guys have voted up in the poll too that I did back in beginning of December, most people actually think that Daryl could be used for the biggest death in the history of The Walking Dead and the biggest for the show thus far. And that would be the biggest that they've ever done for sure if they did that for a season finale. So we'll see. You never know. Again, this isn't really spoilers because we don't know for sure. Sometimes Norman Reedus likes to screw around with us. He likes to mess us around. And sometimes, things may seem to be one way and they could go a totally different way. So it could be somebody totally different. But this question came from Mythic, and he asked, will The Walking Dead lose fans, or what do you think will happen to the show if they eventually, kill Daryl off at some point, and when they do? Let's say it's season 6 finale, or let's say, all our predictions are wrong, and most of us that think that he's the one to look out for, and they kind of throw us through a loop, and it's not Daryl. So if it is, and Daryl was killed off in the season 6 finale, man, that would definitely be one of the biggest episodes ever, and it would definitely have, I would think. This is one thing that happens. A lot of people think if they kill off a fan favorite character, they do something really big, that people will stop watching or they'll quit. That was kind of Mythic's question. Do you think people will just stop watching because if Daryl's their favorite character and they kill him, will they quit? This is something we've talked about for years at this point. And Game of Thrones, I think, has proven that when you actually kill off a fan favorite character, generally it doesn't decrease the show's ratings for the most part. It just makes people more... They talk about it more, like people who watch the show, for example. Walking Dead's been on 6 seasons now, right? If they are to kill off a character like Daryl, or they were to kill off a Rick in the future, probably not now, but way down the road or something, kill off a huge character like Carl or somebody like that, usually the ratings, as Game of Thrones has shown, usually spike after that, because it's such a shock value type deal that people are like, they did what? They tell their co-workers at work, or they tell their co-students, I guess, or other peers in school, and they start talking about this kind of deal, and it just spreads like a virus. So then when it actually comes back after, it gets even more popular, not less. Now, that's the initial response. Later on down the road, if you kill off everybody who's fun, I have heard of some people dropping off Game of Thrones saying, oh, you killed off I won't get into spoilers because I know a lot of you guys haven't watched Game of Thrones yet and may want to in the future. I would recommend it because it's so amazing. My second favorite show to Walking Dead. Like maybe over long term, if a lot of their favorite characters are killed off, they may quit watching. But, the part of that I like the most about Walking Dead is it's eventful. You have so much change in the story. You have things that happen. You may not necessarily like one death. Like if you were a Shane fan like I was in season 2, you may be pissed off that they killed Shane off. It's like, yeah, but the show's eventful, and you can't deny that. There's stuff happening. The comic book series is eventful. There's characters being killed off, and it's not like you just have, Rick, Lori, and, the family, and they always are safe all the way through. I think that was one of the biggest selling points of the comic book series originally, and what really got people into it as well as the TV series, which is that it takes that world seriously and nobody's really safe, and over the long term it's some of the most exciting parts of it is trying to guess what they're going to do, where they're going to go, which is what we love to do, of course, and I've been doing now for since season 2, 5 years now pretty much. To answer your question, Mythic, do I think it's going to hurt the show? Do I think it's going to be bad for the show? No. Plus, if they do it. Plus, you have so many characters now, too. That's another thing. But I do think Daryl is very useful because he's a point of view character, and a character that's so easily a point of view character, where if you don't have Rick in an episode, but you have Daryl there, it still feels like Walking Dead. It doesn't feel weird to have, like a governor-only episode with none of our favorite characters. It feels pretty natural whenever you have either Rick or Daryl. It's like they can both lead the show, so to speak, or even Morgan in some ways because he's such a big character now. But you do have, and people have asked us too, now that you have Morgan coming back as kind of Rick's right-hand man, so to speak, what does that do for Daryl? The first half of season 6, it's kind of meant that he's been kind of pushed into the background or pushed aside for a lot of the story, and that give some of these other characters a chance to shine, Carol again and some of the others, and of course Rick's always there, and Daryl gets a couple episodes, but nothing major. Separate from the group. So, I don't think it'd be bad for the show if they do it at the finale. But over the long term, I think Daryl is really useful to have because you have 16 episode seasons, and Norman Reedus is so great with the fans and everything that it'd be good to keep him. But if they're worried about the ratings at all, then they may want to do it. Because if the ratings have gone down from season 5, they may want to do that to keep people watching. And it depends on their vision too, and how many seasons they see this going for. Scott Gimple did say, I believe somebody told me, I don't know if this is 100% true, that the TV series will probably end before the comics. So as a result, you're looking at with that, okay, well, if they think the show's going to last 10 to 15 seasons, they're going to keep killing characters off at a faster pace. If they think the show's going to last longer, they may be more inclined to keep Morgan, Daryl, these characters around for a longer time period because they know they've got many, many seasons to go, and so they want to keep around some of their bigger names. Either that or they feel like they're going to replace Daryl and some of these bigger names with new bigger names like Morgan and characters like that. So we'll see what happens. But so those are my thoughts. I hope that answered your question, Mythic. I hope you like that answer. No, it won't be bad for the show at first. Over the long term, could it be? Possibly over the long term, but not at the beginning, I don't think. Even though a lot of people will be pissed off and enraged, they'll be telling others about it, which will increase the views of the show even more if season 7 premieres and Daryl is killed. So great question from Mythic. Thanks for the question, man. We'll do a couple more because that was a little bit of a lengthy answer, but it was a great question. Next one's from James Harries. Want to thank him. He asked me a lot of awesome questions. So first, this one from James. Hey, Trev, another great video. Really enjoy all your stuff. I was wondering if you thought that anyone in the group would ever turn evil / switch sides. Shane is the only person who kind of did this, but do you ever think Rick could ever be betrayed by someone in the main group in a big way, i.e. running off with the enemy, killing one of the group in cold blood? So I want to answer this. I think this could be a great way for Rick to eventually be killed off and for Carl to become the main protagonist. I saw an interview from a couple years back with Kirkman, and he actually was talking a little bit about the proportion of the comic book series switching more and more from Rick to Carl over the series, so that it's maybe 70-30 Rick at some point, and then eventually lately we've been seeing a lot more Carl. You're looking at more like 60-40 from Rick and 40% Carl. So maybe shifting over, maybe a character. I think if they're going to kill Rick off, it should probably be someone within the group that does it, rather than Alpha or a character in the TV series like a new villain or something to kill him off. If they do it in the best way, they could have someone from inside, maybe Negan, if Rick starts to trust Negan and then Negan turns on him again and Rick and kills him or something, then Carl kills Negan or just something like that would be amazing. So I think that's how it should be handled eventually if it's eventually done. But I definitely think we are in need for a character from inside the group to kind of turn, even though Nicholas, that's a little bit of a different situation, but just to see somebody maybe who Rick trusts over long term actually turn on him at some point, I think would be great. Morgan kind of seems a little bit upset, but Morgan is kind of, he's not helpless, but he's tough, but it's not like he's going to kill somebody, right? That's totally against his code, so it's not like you have to worry about him, right? Killing somebody like Rick or something like that. And I don't see any of that happening anytime soon. But in the long run, I think we do need to see another Shane-esque type character that maybe is able to get some of the other people on his side. That's what I would say. I think that'd be great. So great question from him. I got some others from him coming up probably for the next Q&A. And thanks for sending me all those, James. Really good. Next one's from altokingman. And he says, and he sent a lot of great questions to, or she, and he or she says, Trev, if the crew were to kill off Heath from The Walking Dead, because of course we did a video talking about Heath being cast in the actor who plays him, Corey Hawkins, is cast in another show, so if they kill him off in The Walking Dead, Do you think that they would create a character from scratch to replace him or scrap his story completely? Here's the deal. His story isn't that crucial to the overall direction of The Walking Dead. He's a character who's there. He's a part of the story. He's somewhat more like, who's another runner who we've had over the seasons who didn't make it? I guess Noah was kind of a runner, in that capacity. Heath is there for a lot longer in the comic book series. Like, he's actually still there, which is cool. I don't think he'll survive that long in the TV series. Corey Hawkins got other stuff going on. So we'll see what happens. But, yeah, I mean, they just replace him with some other runner or something, other character. It wouldn't be a big deal. His relationship and stuff like that, it may not even work out anyway because you got Denise making out with Tara and stuff or whatever. So maybe they're going to have some kind of relationship. So, is it like that big of a deal? It's like, whatever, man. I mean, he was never one of my favorite characters in the comic series anyway because he never really did that much that was really at the forefront like a Daryl or Rick or Morgan or any of these other characters. Not really. I will do 2 more from him. His next question is, this is a personal question for me. Trev, how many pets do you have and what are their names? So we have 5. We have 3 guinea pigs, which is fun. We have the new bunny that we got, the dwarf rabbit, who's really, really cute, really fun, and he likes to run around and stuff like that. And then we also have a hamster that I bought Jess. They're basically all for Jess. I'm not really a pet guy too much. Some people ask me, Trev, do you have a dog? Do you have cats? That kind of deal. I can't do a dog because I work, so many hours at the computer, and I need, like right now, if I had a dog and it started barking right now, it would just be a nightmare for recording videos. I'd have to put it outside and record, and maybe it'd be barking in the backyard, distracting me, and it'd be so tough for what I do between my job being, maybe on a headset or something with a dog running around, working from home, and then doing this like this. Oh man, it would be so hard to try to do everything I do with a dog. It'd be too difficult. Even though Jess still does want she still wants like a teacup dog. She talks about maybe eventually I'll get her one, and figure it out. But yeah, that'd be cute. But right now we can't because we got too many other animals that would try to attack our bunny and stuff. So that wouldn't be cool. At least I think it probably would, unless it was really small or something. I don't know. You have to see. And then cats. Cats are okay, but she's allergic to the hair, so we can't do cats either. So yeah, but that's okay. So their names. So the bunny rabbit, his name is Bruce, because you guys know I love comic books, right? So then the hamster's name is Vegeta. Our main guinea pig, our first one we got, his name's Goku, and then we have another one named Gunther, who's kind of useless, to be honest. We don't even like him, but we keep him just because it's like, what are we gonna do with him? We're gonna let him go? He's gonna die or something outside in the heat. Guinea pigs can't take heat. They're from like the Peruvian mountains, so they get smoked in heat real fast. Like one afternoon outside in 100 degrees, they're dead. That's it. They're done. And then who did I forget? Oh, the female guinea pig who's named Harley. So yeah, they're all comic book names mostly. Show you how big of a geek I am. And she's okay with it, so that's fun. So there it is. And then Gunther's named after a singer who's really funny. If you've ever seen Gunther, he's got some pretty funny stuff. And I used to like listening to his music and just laugh because it's just so ridiculous. He's like a cartoon character in real life. It's pretty funny. So look up Gunther if you're interested in that. And his last question from him is, this will be the last one for this Q&A. If they were to do a spin-off, which character would you want it to follow? So that's great. So so we have a companion series, and AMC has made it clear. Companion series means another series, but you don't have a character spinning off from it. A spin-off for The Walking Dead would be like if you had Morales, who's gone off in his own direction, and they created a series for him, which, to be honest, might not be that bad of an idea. Yeah, they might even want to consider doing that in the future, even for a season or 2 or something. That'd be kind of cool to see. But we'll probably never see him again. He's like the only character that was in there and gone, and then we never saw again. So in terms of the characters that are alive right now, because we've had lots of characters that were killed, like Shane would have been cool to see in a spin-off. But of course, it's important in the story that he gets killed off because that sets the pace for The Walking Dead and what you're watching. Same with Lori and that. But for a spin-off, I think Daryl could be a really great lead to a spin-off. He would just have to become more sociable again and have somebody go Morgan style and have someone meet someone that kind of brings him back to life, so to speak. Maybe be a female or something. That would be good to get it started. So Daryl could be one that would be great if he is to survive, I think. And Norman Reedus could definitely lead another spin-off and it'd be successful, I would think. It'd feel just like The Walking Dead. You have Daryl instead of Rick, right? As the main. Or you could do something like maybe a spin-off. Oh man, he'd be a great character to do it. Carol would be cool to see, or Morgan, somebody like that. These types of characters could be pretty good for a spin-off. And then you'd have to bring in a lot of new characters and have us get used to newer characters from new surviving groups and stuff like that. But we'll have to see how much how much mileage The Walking Dead is going to be able to get out of, or AMC is going to be able to get out of The Walking Dead, and how long these type of zombie stories are going to be able to go for, and if people do eventually get deaded out or zombied out and kind of lose interest. So I'll call it here for today's Q&A. Let me know what you guys think to all these questions below. What will you do if they kill Daryl off in the finale, and how will you respond? Will you still love the show? Will you still watch it, or will you quit? I've heard of some people actually quitting after Lori was killed, and that just thinking it's like too dark, I can't handle it, so they quit. But I think eventually they came. A lot of them came back. It's kind of like a bad relationship. You keep going back to it. It keeps making you sad, you go back to it. It keeps making you sad, you go back to it. That's a good way to look at The Walking Dead. Anyway, if you guys like the video, please thumb it up below. If you want to help support the channel, please share, favorite, and send me more questions for Q&As this week. And if you're new and you want to sub, you can sub at the bottom left. Can't wait for next week. Really excited for it, as always. Guys, it's Trev. I'm saying peace.